Welcome to Reading the Green, our golf and fantasy sports show. My name is Mike, Jordan, and Kyle. On Tuesday, August 1st, we're going to recap the 3M Open, the Hometown Open, preview the Wyndham Championship. First, Kyle, I was out at the 3M Open. I didn't even go in the merch tent. I was told there were no hats worth buying. And you're rocking a really sweet 3M Open TPC Twin Cities hat. That thing's freaking cool.
Who told you there's no hats worth buying? It wasn't me.
Like hat connoisseur 90-degree rule on in Listener League told me there were no good hats, and that is a sweet freaking hat.
I saw quite a few good hats of people that had bought them. Yeah.
Man, I'm bummed I didn't go in now. I might have bought the same one.
I bought this on the way out on Friday, right after I saw a 90-degree rule. So he did not see me wearing it. So maybe he missed it in the tent.
Okay. All right. Well, did you guys have a good time at the 3M Open?
I did.
Yeah.
It was a little warm, but outside of that,
my hats off. Yes.
Yeah, had a grand old time.
You know, that VIP treatment was nice though. I had a private bus from the parking lot over to the VIP entrance. I literally walked up and I was like, "I'm not VIP. Does this work here?" And they're like, "Oh, you are VIP, sir."
Come on, you had an RTG logo on your shirt. Of course you're VIP.
Kyle, Kyle and I didn't wear that on Thursday.
It was a little bar.
You want to take care of the shout outs?
Yes. We do have some shout outs. Thank you very much to a couple individuals and entities. First out, thank you, Bailey, for hooking us up with some great passes to access certain areas and get on this bus. Thank you to RSM, who sponsored RTG out there for the week. And then lastly, thanks to North Oaks Golf Club. They hosted a little golf event for RTG on Friday evening that Mike may or may not want to talk about.
This was the most disjointed 3M coverage that we could come up with because I think Jordan and Kyle were out there Thursday. You guys were apart. Kyle and I were supposed to be out there Friday. I actually couldn't make it to the golf tournament. Kyle was out there solo. And then I went out on Saturday with my daughter, which I was trying to tweet some updates. And literally, and I think I said this on Twitter, literally she says to me on the way out, "Dad, we didn't really see that many golfers." I was like, you didn't want to. Yeah. Kyle, per your recommendation, the half-price beer tent on 13 Green was incredible.
Yeah, it was a scene.
It was a scene. People were like hooting and hollering. That was a great idea. So for the listeners that weren't out there, maybe run a simple promo. Every time there was a birdie, they ran half-price cans at this tent behind the 13th green for the next 10 minutes, essentially until the next group came up. And it was good because like they had 5 or 6 different beers and you could get them for $5, which is great for golf tournaments these days. But Kyle, you said you were out there and there was like 4 groups in a row made birdies and people were like just like loading up.
Yeah, it was great. And the best part of it was this little unassuming beer tent. You wouldn't think anything of it. And it's not a part of the course that's heavily trafficked. And then it has the worst stands possible right behind 13. No coverage. People just baking out in the sun. But there's a little tree right behind the stand. You sit there and watch people make a birdie putt and get a half-price beer.
Yeah, I saw someone tweet about it on, I think it was Sunday, or probably Saturday, actually, and the line was like 40 people long, right? They intentionally made it. It's a one-person working, right? Like, this is not somewhere a ton of people are going to get beers.
Well, I don't know what changed. I mean, I'm sure pin position and stuff, but on Thursday, I had looked at the end of the day, Thursday, what holes were playing the hardest. And that hole was actually playing the hardest from a par 3 perspective. And I didn't know that stand was there on Thursday. So Friday, when we stumbled across it, and I was like, oh, well, I'm sure they put it here because there's not as many birdies. It's the hardest par 3 in the course. And then we saw 4 in a row. So,
well, they had it rolling on Saturday, and I think the pin was up front and the tee was up. And so this couldn't have been playing more than 175 yards. I think that hole is normally like 215, a little downwind. I mean, guys are hitting in there tight. So it was good for the fans. I think that is certainly a promotion that could be replicated. Anything else on sights and sounds of the 3M, things you guys saw? I know we have 2 other topics we're going to get to before we get into the DFS content, but what else on the 3M Open, sights and sounds?
I think
Go ahead, Jordan.
I was gonna say the best part was Kyle texting us as he gets there. Everyone thinks he's a caddy. He gets on the bus. People thinks he's a caddy, and then he shows up to me and I'm like, yeah, you kind of look like a caddy right now. You were just dressed in golf attire, but you were fully could have been a caddy. And
I got asked 3 times. I got told I was going on the wrong bus. Sir, caddy's bus is over here.
You kind of walked like a little bit of a slump from carrying a staff bag for the last 15 years, and
it was.
I don't know what it was. Yeah,
it was nice.
I had a white Titleist hat and a white polo that coordinated, and
a smock that said Snedeker on the back.
I found a 3M caddy bib. I just threw it on. I mean, that's why. No, most of the caddies were not wearing bibs, by the way.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting as well.
At least maybe it was the heat thing. On Thursday, very few were wearing bibs.
I did not notice that. Interesting.
Yep.
Interesting. Well, we'll anything else from a fan perspective? We'll talk results in a few minutes, but anything else from a fan perspective?
My favorite moment out there being on the course was Cam Young's complete meltdown to his driver on when he was on the 3rd green. I don't know what. Like, I did not see him play 2 and 3s if he had bad drives, whatnot. But he was very upset that he left a chip about 2 inches short from getting onto the green and it rolled out perfectly, and then didn't make the chip, and then just took it out on his driver. I seriously thought it was going to snap. I was about 4 feet away, and right at the breaking point, he stopped and then just decided to cuss incessantly instead of break his driver.
Nice.
Well, you almost saw him snap what was like a 9-iron or a sand, on what I think was his last hole of Friday. He tried to bend it over his knee, and it was caught on TV, but he was not successful.
Yeah, he was just not happy all around.
Yeah. Well, I don't blame him. He's been on a good run, and then he showed up with that performance.
Yes, I would say the only thing to add, Thursday morning was awesome. Like there was no one out there Thursday morning. Like I followed Finau and like it was busy and there were 25 people following Finau's group as he was 7 under or 6 under through 5 holes or something. And like so you could get as close as you wanted. Kyle and I with JY Sodi were behind a tee box, not of Finau, but like I could have reached out and touched the guys as they were lining up to hit.
Yeah, that's so cool.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, that actually brings up 2 other things. So when that guy teed off, the best part of that, he was playing with, it was an AM, right, Jordan?
Yeah.
And the guy was going into his bag for something right when the other guy wanted to tee off. He froze like a robot. It was awesome. He just like stopped mid-bend over with his hand into the bag and stopped moving. And it was great. Yeah.
They know the protocol.
And that guy was the worst player this weekend.
Correct.
He finished plus 20.
Yeah, he was plus 8 at this point on his 11th hole.
Hole?
Yeah. And then, last shout out we should say, Jordan brought it up, but listener JY Sodi was out there. It was great to meet up with him.
Well, good stuff. I mean, building on it every year. Lots of good takes. I had a lot of fun. Just a little bit. I was out there. We'll make sure we get out there a little bit more next year. But thanks again to Bailey and RSM for giving us a little more access. Make it super easy to get to the tournament. All right, Kyle. We have 2 topics we're gonna run through really quick. The first is you want to talk about the best golf courses in Minnesota. What do you got?
Yeah, updated list came out July 5th. Don't know if you guys have seen this yet, but I'll run through the top 5, maybe give me some thoughts from you guys, and then we'll continue down the list. Obviously, we need to get some golf outings planned in the near future for some of these. But number 1, I think you're all familiar with, but Interlocking Country Club in Edina, Minnesota, followed by Spring Hill and Wayzata, Hazeltine National Golf Club in Chaska, White Bear Yacht Club in White Bear Lake, and then Minicata in good old Minneapolis, about half a mile from where I sit. Thoughts?
The number 1 golf course in the state is currently a dirt pile. So that they must be ranking the golf course the future. Either they're ranking the golf course of the future or they're ranking the golf course of last year, but they're not ranking a golf course that exists at the moment. So that's interesting.
I'm sure you know who's doing the redesign out there, right?
Andrew Green.
Yeah.
Just of Oak Hill fame.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's certainly a lot to look forward to, and what's gonna be a really cool restoration of already a very great property. I played Spring Hill once, maybe like 15 years ago. It continues to be a fantastic gem of a golf course if you can get on it. Colton Oast was tweeting about it. He was playing out there during the 3M earlier in the week, so people know about it. It's tough to get on. And then I caddied at Minnetonka for about 8 years, high school, college. Spent a lot of time playing that golf course. Had some great rounds out there. I have not played it since that time, so I'd be really curious to go out there since they've done all the regrassing and all that. But I don't know. No argument. Top 5. I think there's a couple of others.
Is Minnetonka also where you met your wife?
That is not where we met. We met at a little spot out west of the Twin Cities by a couple hours called Dakota Ridge.
Oh,
but we both held jobs at Minnetonka for at least a summer. Yes.
It's fun. Have you either of you played at Hazeltine or White Bear Yacht Club?
Hazeltine, yes. I've probably played it 6 or 8 times. A lot of high school, college. I played in the state am at Hazeltine, actually. Hardest setup I've ever played in my life. They played the PGA pins. One of the rounds, one of the setups for the state am, they had the PGA pins, like the Friday pins. And I'd played Hazeltine a bunch in high school events. And this was I think this is after college. And I couldn't believe the pin placements. I'm like, these are not, I've played this golf course enough to know these pin placements don't exist. And where they were putting them, you finally understood, like, oh, okay, these guys, you have to be really good. I had a great ball striking week. I shot like in the low 80s and I played well. There's nothing you could do.
Nice.
Fun little caveat.
Dakota Ridge is in the top 25.
Is it really?
Yeah.
So
it's number 1 in my heart.
We got to say that. All right, we'll continue. The quarry at Giants Bridge, which I would say is definitely somewhere RTG will have an event someday. Correct?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. It gets a lot of love. It's actually on the top 100 public courses nationally list by Golf Digest as well. Windsong Farm and Maple Plain. That's the super exclusive one, right?
Not that exclusive. It's more of like a players club,
I gotcha. All right. Wilderness
Spring Hill is probably one of the most exclusive one out there.
For a while, okay. Spring Hill was second club only. You had to have a membership somewhere else in the Twin Cities to be able to join Spring Hill.
That's where I was thinking of. All right. So then the Wilderness have Fortune Bay, Northland Country Club, Madden's Gull Lake, the Classic. We'll just run through some highlights. Somerset Country Club, in Mendota Heights was 11th, Olympic Hills 12th, Minneapolis Golf Club 13th, and then one I was surprised to see on here is Midland Hills in Roseville, Minnesota was 14th.
A lot of these courses are older courses that have been redone, and I don't know if, again, this list is to some extent a marketing endeavor for some clubs, and so their ability to get on it is sort of rewarding them for the work that they've done. Olympic Hills is the course I grew up playing at. Not the Olympic Hills it is now. It was burned to the ground essentially and rebuilt. It is a fantastic property now. The routing is essentially the same, but like the golf course plays entirely different. I love going out there. The greens are way too hard for me to want to play regularly. It's almost like mini golf in that they had to even do a tempering of the greens after the restoration. They were so intense. Midland Hills, I played in the state am there like forever ago, and that golf course was totally forgetful for me. So I'm curious if they did a redesign or a restoration that would have got them up the board here, because there's no way that's the case if it's the golf course I played 15 years ago.
Yeah, it's actually kind of a fun story. The superintendent found an old irrigation map from 1921 in the ceiling above his office. So they redesigned it to Seth Rayner's division or original view in the 1920s, and they brought it back to that. So yeah, it's
That's
kind of
pretty
a
cool.
fun little
That's
story.
really cool.
Yeah. Was there any other ones on there, Jordan, you wanted to highlight that stood out to you?
No, it's good to see that it's not just all in the Twin Cities, right? There's actually a bunch up north. There's a few out west. There's one down south of Red Wing. I never even heard of some of the cities that these courses are in. So that's.
What was the one down? Was it the Jewel or Territory or something like that?
I think it was Jewel, or there's
The Jewel's 25th, and then
there's-
Rochester Golf and Country Club's 24.
yeah, there's Summerby and Byron, Minnesota.
Yeah, I've played Summerby a few times. That's a
where that
layman
is.
course. They
Rochester.
actually had a Corn Ferry event there before Corn Ferry was the thing. It's a fun course. Open. It kind of reminds me of like a Windsong, not a lot of trees, linksy.
Yeah.
Kyle, where was Dakota Ridge? That was really on the list. I ran through it. I don't remember
25.
Dakota Ridge Golf Club in Morton, Minnesota. Is that what we're talking about?
No, 22.
22. It looks wide open.
Idea. Do you guys know the story? Do you want to know the story? Do we have time for the story?
I mean,
we'll save the story.
Save it. Save it. Let's go play there sometime.
We'll save it for my anniversary pod.
Yes. Mike, the one that surprised me the most was Golden Valley is what?
Yeah.
13.
They're actually closed right now too.
Yeah.
So
but
again,
I played it and it was nice. It was nothing to write home about. Like it was a nice country club course.
Well, for our Minnesota listeners, a download of the top 25 courses in the Twin Cities. For our non-Minnesota listeners, when you're in town, hit us up. There's some good stuff on this list that is accessible to you. Otherwise, we have access to places, and happy to entertain those plans. Kyle, one more take. You have a take not related to Minnesota golf courses, but related to some angle you got. Some angle you got on Ryder Cup. What do you got?
Ryder Cup. I feel like the big narrative this week is, Justin Thomas was on the edge of the Ryder Cup, and then he really struggled. Obviously, at 3M, missed the cut, and that there's no way he's on the team. Well, do you guys know what happened this past Monday? So Monday, July 31st, yesterday, at Elmcrest Country Club in Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
An Iowa State football player illegally gambled on something and won't be able to play this year.
No, a lot of that happened today in the state of Iowa as well, from indictment's perspective. But something also took place called the Zach Johnson Foundation Classic.
Oh.
Short little jump down from the Twin Cities. A couple PGA players played it. A lot of names you would know: Zach Blair, Stuart Sank, Harry Higgs, obviously Zach Johnson. Mike, you mentioned Colton Ose, Adam Long, Troy Merritt, Ryan Palmer, Patrick Rogers, Adam Shank. No one that's really on the Ryder Cup potential list, except for one person. Justin Thomas went to Cedar Rapids, Iowa on Monday and played in the Zach Johnson Foundation Classic.
Buttering up the captain.
He is 100% on the freaking Ryder Cup team. Don't tell me he's not.
I think.
And thank you to our connections within the community to point this out to us. But I haven't heard anyone else on their podcast this week talking about the Zach Johnson Foundation Classic.
You know what, Kyle? I don't want to blow your cover on this. I almost recorded this on TV because I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Colt and Trevor had this exact same exchange on Sunday. I think Colt said something like, "Yeah, here JT's going down to play in Zach Johnson's charity event on Monday, and so he's hanging around the Midwest." And Illiman was like, "Well, he should be, like, he's buttering up the captain, and this is what he should be doing." So, like, I'm not trying to. We were there first because this was Friday that we talked about this. So this was 2 days ahead of those guys. We were breaking this first because we have ins, especially with the Zach Johnson Foundation. And you know what? There is there's no reason JT should be on that team.
None. He won't be.
Other than the fact that there are some dynamics that he has with guys like Jordan Spieth that could win someone like Zach Johnson over. He wants dogs, and I could totally see that playing out.
I can't give away my source, but I have been told that Zach Johnson, quote unquote, it's Justin and Jordan's team. I'm just here to be a steward for them.
Yeah. That's
granted, that was before the season, but yeah.
I mean, that also means that the U.S. is going to get smoked.
Well, and that's what the take has been, is like, oh, the U.S. continues to want to do this, and they want to continue to lose on international soil. So, they might, but the question isn't whether or not the U.S. is going to win or lose. The question is JT on the team? And I think Kyle, to your point, it's pointing to JT's on the team.
JT's on the team. So just a refresher for those that haven't looked recently, the 6 that have currently in the automatic qualifying spots, and it's almost locked in going to the playoffs. Scotty, Wyndham Clark, Brian Harmon with the win, Brooks, Xander, Cantlay, assuming Brooks can play. I think that's been covered. And then the current 6 that would be, if he just took the next 6 on the board, with Homa, Cam Young, Spieth, Bradley, Keegan Bradley, Morikawa, and Ricky Fowler.
Oh God, did you hear that list of people?
And then, but you have Sam Burns and JT 13, 14. I heard an argument today trying to say Finau's on the team. He's freaking 19th. He's not on the team. Not even close. So I think it's really down to if you take JT and you don't take Keegan Bradley or Cam Young, because I think you're taking the rest of those guys. Yeah.
Can we hold? It's tough. Can we hold the Ryder Cup debate for a week from now? Let's see how the regular season shakes out, and then we can really break it down, because I think that'd be a great topic once all the money has been doled out. Really quick on RTG housekeeping for the 3M Listener League. We had Buke 0215 taking down the top spot this week. Congrats, Ness. Second place in a row. Tough to do. Second place in a row. And then I got third. It was a brutal week at the 3M DFS wise. I had a 3 of 6 in a large cash game that hit. And it didn't really take much near the top. Kyle, I have not seen our model be so decimated up top as I have this week. This might be the worst that we've seen in the 2 years that we've been really crunching the numbers. Glover, Young, Straka, Eckroat, Gim, though Gim made the cut. Reeve, Hadwin. I don't know why I put Gim on the list. Just Im. Sanjay misses the cut. Like, it just was brutal up top. I guess that's probably what I meant by Gim. Just brutal up top.
Oh yeah, bloodbath all around. I mean, it hasn't been. I haven't been running great lately, so it's just unfortunate. But it's an event. That's what we need to remember next year. It's an event that lends itself to chaos with all the water. You saw guys shooting 9s, and I mean, even JTP coming down the finish line. Granted, he was going for the win on Sunday on the 18, but you're gonna have guys blow up, and you're gonna have guys that are. I think it's 50% of the guys over $7,600 on DraftKings missed the cut.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we got a guy like,
file that away for next year.
Yeah, the guy like Lee Hodges, unmodeled in our model, which means that of the few dozen experts that we track and load their picks into our model, Lee Hodges not mentioned by a single one. So I appreciate all the guys on Twitter that are like, "Oh, look at the cards I'm holding. Look at my plays. I'm all over Lee Hodges." It's like, well, no one was writing them up. Wins by 7. So take it for what it is. If you made a little bit of money this week, good for you. JTP was the top player in our model, 12th ranked overall. Gutsiest play of the week, Bo Hostler. Bo Hostler carried me to my 3rd place RTG position, shooting a 62 on Sunday. So good job, Landon Selinsky, for being on Bo Hostler. Top article of the week, Matt McKay had Mitchell and you. Kevin Yu was on fire. Kyle, we were all over Kevin Yu. The model was all over Kevin Yu. And he just put it in the tank at the end of the day on Saturday, and then it was just about nothing on Sunday. So it is such a volatile event. I think we got a lot of duds right. That's what I thought was cool. Got a lot of duds right. I almost think we go like full dud lineups next year, because how many studs are trying? Like, it's the week after the British Open. Who can you trust?
You just need to find the one stud that plays okay. But even,
Finau,
I mean,
would have been
Finau
the one this week.
But Decky had a great Thursday and then kind of, disappeared back into the woodwork. Yeah. Down the board.
All right,
next
Jordan. Yeah, Jordan, one and done. Is there even is it just like separation? I feel like nothing changes one and done wise.
Yeah, the top 7 missed the cut or something crazy.
It's been a bloodbath, especially for people that I pick. Yeah, we had Keith Mitchell was the best pick this week for 300K. One Tony Finau, a couple Grillos. Look at you guys. You guys got 6th and 7th place. I'm so proud of you.
Blowing that Alex Noren pick.
Yeah. But yeah, Champles is in the lead by 180,000. Obviously there's a few people within 5 million, which what are the next 2 events both? Well, not this one. How much are the FedEx Cup tournaments worth?
500.
Wait, $500,000
money wise, FedEx Cup. I think they'll be elevated. I assume they'd be a few million.
I would assume so. So yeah, so like there can be some movement, even if
we have 3 events left. Wyndham this week, St. Jude, and BMW is the end.
Yeah, so if you're within, I would say 5 to 6 million, you still have a chance if you hit a winner. And we've all picked most of the good people already, so you need to hit a big one. Otherwise, we're probably going to end up roughly the same.
I would say, Jordan, you're about at the very edge of still in contention for money.
What do we pay out the top? How many?
5, right?
5. Okay, I'm only 3 million out of 5th place.
So maybe actually probably goes a little bit beyond you, but we can continue.
Yep. Good reminder for me to go make my pick, though.
Yeah, there you go. Are you guys ready to talk a little Wyndham Championship? Before we do that, I almost forgot to, we're coming off a national night out, at least in Minnesota. It is national night out, so other places.
So yeah, it's not Minnesota night out, Mike.
I know, but everyone I talk to doesn't actually know what it is. Well served to this point, but I had to go get one more because I was really excited to share this with you guys. This is Golferitaville, a Margarita Seltzer from Junkyard Brewing. Clocks it at 6.3%. It's really good.
That's hefty for a seltzer. I didn't know Junkyard made seltzers, but
it's hefty for a seltzer. And I, as someone who's margarita is probably my favorite cocktail, this is really hitting the spot.
I did not know that about Mike. Jordan, did you know that about Mike?
I had no idea. I don't really seen him drink a cocktail.
Well, that's the thing. I don't really appreciate great craft cocktails, so I appreciate ones I can make in my blender.
Yeah, neither of you are big cocktail guys, but I have Black Stack micro-dosing cashmere once a day IPA, and I got a filter on so you can't see it, but it's fun. It's good.
Nice.
Micro-dosing
I had enough high noons at National Night Out that I'm drinking water because I have an 8 a.m. meeting tomorrow morning. So let's speed this up also, boys.
Yeah, we're moving. All right, the Wyndham Championship, the finale of the PGA Tour season. We head to Sedgefield Country Club in Greensboro, North Carolina. We get a Donald Ross design. Last year, Tom Kim won. Tom Kim was 17 under? Something like that. 21 under?
He started with a quad. He started with a quad and won this tournament by several. Kyle, what do we know about Sedgefield Country Club? And really, it's not all that different from most Donald Ross golf courses. And the fun thing is we know a lot about it. So you look at last week and how hard last week was from a betting and DFS perspective. I feel like this shouldn't be as much of a test, right? We should know, we've had a lot of data on this course, and a very particular type of player has won the pass. You need to be accurate with the driver. It's not a bomber session. It has a pretty short overall driving distance, but you have to be accurate. Birdies are better. You're going to see 62s out here. You're going to see low scores, and you got to be dialed in on the approach. Obviously, also get hot with the putter. I believe last year I had it up, but don't have it in front of me anymore because I accidentally closed out. But Tom Kim gained a ridiculous amount of strokes with the putter, and that led him to a victory.
What I understand, I saw a quote from Brent Seneker, who I think won here in 2018, was that the way that the fairways are contoured, and because it's so narrow and heavily wooded, it puts a premium on driving accuracy. The course is not long, it's 7,100 something yards. Everybody ends up really hitting from the same spots. It's positional golf off the tee, and the way the fairways are contoured, the balls are rolling to the same spot. So whether you're shorter hitting driver, you're longer hitting 2 irons and 3 woods, it all comes down to who's going to hit wedges the best and who's going to make putts. And so I think you're going to put a premium on really kind of those gamers that just know how to get the ball in the hole, a la, we talk about like even like a Webb Simpson. He's been super successful here. Those kind of guys just, they rise to the top at a golf course like this. Remember we had didn't we have a 7-way playoff here a couple of years ago? And in that group, again, it was just guys you wouldn't expect. Russell Henley, Adam Scott, Kevin Kisner, Patrick Rogers might have been into that. So we'll see. I agree. Accuracy, short game, putting. That's what we're looking for.
Fun. So last year, Tom Kim, we talked about, won the event. Shot 3 under. Granted, he had the quad. That's going to throw it off in one round of golf. But he gained 4.7 strokes putting on the first round and lost tee to green. And then he had 3 other rounds of that week. He gained 4 strokes putting. So, yeah, I 100% agree with everything you said, Mike.
Do you want to give a quick rundown of the model? And I don't think it's going to surprise anybody what we see at the top here.
We have 5 guys over 30% mention share so far. Leading the way is Mr. Putter himself, Denny McCarthy, 8,700, 52% mention share, 23 on the MPI. Russell Henley's coming in next, 10-2 salary. We're paying up for Russell this week, 47% mention share, but pretty good on the MPI at 60. Eric Cole, 7,700 salary, 42% mention share. MPI doesn't love him so far, but right behind him, Adam Hadwin, 8,000, which seems like an interesting price point for Adam Hadwin. 32% mention share and mention power index at 38. And then Brendan Todd, the Todd father, 7,400 salary, 32% mention share as well.
Well, what piques your interest? Or maybe Jordan, maybe you want to start. What names jump out to you?
Yeah, go ahead, Jordan.
Talking a lot about Tom Kim, I'm going to actually go with Siwoo, who has an amazing record here, has won a bunch of top finishes. He withdrew last year, so it's that one wasn't there, but he's also the top MPI in our model at $9,000. Not a bad price either. He's going to be my one and done pick for all you listeners out there. Hopefully no one else picks him so I can win some money for a change. But yeah, so that's where I'm going to start. After that, I don't know. There's a mishmash, right? Like down in the what are we at? 26%. It's like Hideki 10,000, JT Posted 9,000, Shane Lowry 9,500, Sung Jae 10,000. Like none of those people interest me. Like this might be one of those weeks where I do a lot of like Siwoo might be the most expensive guy, right? Ride that middle of the pack group.
I don't blame you.
This isn't a Stars and Scrubs lineup. It's a mediocre players lineup.
Yeah, right down the middle. I don't blame you. For those for new listeners, just a reminder, we're going to talk about 2 metrics. We're going to talk about our mention share, our share percentage, and we're going to talk about our power index. In our approach, we gather as many expert plays as we can track regularly. It's a few dozen. And And so the percentage will be the percentage of experts that are mentioning that player this week. And the power index is going to be our proprietary model to model how strong we think the support is for that player across everybody talking about that player. So we'll typically talk about the top players in our model, the ones that are getting the most love from the expert community. I like Siwoo, Jordan, and I agree with you. Like, if I learned anything last week, now this course is a lot more predictable, but the players that I'm seeing outside of maybe Russell Henley, there's a lot of predictability that's further down the board. Kyle, maybe I'll ask you, are you going to be like 85% on Webb Simpson this week?
No, thank you, sir. I am very intrigued with Siwoo, just course history here, as we talked about. But I mean, Adam had one 8K. That just seems asinine. He's been right in lockstep with Russell Henley from a price point perspective this year. So I mean, I'm okay with that. Granted, I think he's hit there because he's coming off 2 straight cuts at 3M and John Deere Classic, not strong fields, not super hard courses, but he did also T2 at the Rocket Mortgage. So maybe there's a little volatility there, not a guy for cash, but I think 8K is a great price.
Speaking of asinine price points, like I agree with that one. How about Denny McCarthy, 8,700? I mean, we are 3 weeks removed from him at the John Deere Classic being 10-6. Is this field that much weaker than the John Deere? Or that much stronger, I should say?
No, it's not. I mean, you have a couple more people up the board, but we just leave at this point, Mike. We just leave Denny for you. We know not to talk about it.
I'm not saying that I'm on him. I just, at 8,700 just feels ridiculous. It's the same with Eric Cole. What does Eric Cole have to do to crack the 8K price barrier? He was top 20 last week. Like, this makes no sense.
Yeah, that's 100% fair. Another guy I think is underpriced and maybe not egregiously as those guys, but is Alex Smalley, 8,100. He got cut at the Scottish Open, but he was T2 at the John Deere Classic, T9 at the Travelers, T25 at RBC Canadian before that. So I think that's a great value. Bettors are all over him. He opened at 70, and in most places he is down to 28, 30 at this point in time, 30, 35. So he is just getting bet and bet hard. So from a DFS perspective, I'm certainly intrigued there because a lot of people seem to be on that this week. And then my third play, my boy JTP, coming off second last week. Last time he won an event, he finished second the week before at the Travelers, goes and wins the John Deere Classic, 9,200, 26% mention share. I like Mr. Poston. When he's hot, he runs good, and he's on it right now.
Yeah, I agree with staying out of the 10Ks this week. Like, I think there's way too much value in the 9Ks. Poston, Siwoo, go ahead and just load up on a few 9K plays that I think are going to be real solid. Brendan Todd, 7,400. Talk about a guy that's 10th this year in driving accuracy, typically gains 10 to 20% in terms of accuracy percentage on his fields. If that's what the course demands, like, this feels like just a slam dunk value play right now. I'm curious where the rest of our experts are going to come in, but Brendan Todd's about as sort of center of the road as it gets, and I'd just be looking there from value. Feels a little cheap for Brendan Todd.
Also, last thing I forgot to mention is JTP. He won this event in 2019. So there you go.
That's his famous. I think he went bogey free for the golf tournament and included a 62 on Sunday, something like that.
Yes. Yeah.
So lots of good stuff there. Any other plays deeper down? I mean, the only other spot we're getting a little bit of love on the power index for Justin Lower, 6,800. Also he's up, Matt Vincenzi, Spencer Aguiar. So I could be a plus 6K play. I just don't think I'm going 6K this week. I don't think I have to. I think I'm going to be able to get enough value starting my line of sub 10K that I can kind of hang there and then pick up guys like Eric Cole and Brendan Todd and Alex
Akshay
Noren.
Bhatia.
It's
You going
I
all
don't know
in?
that this is. I don't know that I'm all in on Akshay this week.
I don't think it's a great Akshay course.
I agree with that.
But Presley will be there.
The resort style courses, that's where I
Mhm.
like Akshay, and Tahoe I put in the resort style course. I there's a couple, just throwing a couple other names out that I know are getting a little bit of steam is Adam Svensson, 16% mention share right now, but I know some people like him from a betting perspective. I haven't heard this name as much, but Andrew Putnam kind of intrigues me at 7,200, 11% mention share. He hasn't played in a while, but he's coming off of 6 straight made cuts with a T5 at the Memorial in there as well. And we're talking about, we want guys that can get hot with the putter and can dial it in with their irons. I think that's intriguing.
Well, both Svensson and Putnam are guys that, again, you're just fitting this profile of players that are a little shorter off the tee, quite a bit more accurate than their peers. Like, that's just, again, if we're all hitting from the same spots, I just want guys that can get to that spot. And that's what will be rewarded this week, and that's what I'm going to be looking for. Do you want to move on to tiers, Kyle?
Yeah, I think the model really shows a clear slam dunk player this week in tier 5. We have Eric Cole, we have Akshay, as Jordan brought up. We have Gary Woodland, Taylor Moore, Vincent Norman, and Seabass, Christian Bezuidenhout, all in that tier. And really the only one getting a bunch of mention share right now is Eric Cole. And Mike, you brought up, he's being underrepresented. He shouldn't be in tier 5. He shouldn't be 7,700 how he's playing. Model likes him, and that's where I'll go in tier 4.
The only caution, as Jordan would normally point out, is that the power index, he's bringing up the rear in the power index, and obviously he's getting a lot of attention from a lot of value play contributors, which can lead to some volatility. But I don't know. There's nothing. The thing that I think probably turns me off of Eric Cole this week, which is what I think I said at the 3M, which is he's not all that accurate off the tee. Like, that actually tends to be his struggle. Very strong approach player, can pop with the putter, struggles with distance and accuracy off the tee. But I said about the 3M, where we said we need distance and accuracy, and he played great. So, the guy continues to defy the odds whenever field he's in. So,
I mean, he's only missed one cut in the last 11 events.
I know.
With several, T23, T15, T6. I mean, he's not
losing
winning,
strokes
right?
off the tee. Losing strokes off the tee
but
every single week.
He's a top 30 machine.
Yep. Yes. All right. Well, Kyle, you prepared name game this week because you were the champion last week. This is important. Jordan holds a 2-point lead with 4 events to play. Kyle, you needed that win to stay in it. You are 3 points behind. I am 2 points behind. Listeners would need to run the table. So that is in our control since we picked for them. But name game, Kyle, what do you got? What are you serving up this week to ensure that Jordan does not run away with this thing?
Big win. Just trying to make things interesting at the end here. So this week we have the Adams, the Kims, and the Sams. So we each have 3 golfers from the Adam, Kim, or Sam as their namesake. So team 1, Adam Shank, Michael Kim, and Sam Burns, they're $24,100 combined.
Kyle, I was on mute, so I didn't get my joke out, but would you say we have the Sam Adams this week?
The Sam Adams Kim, can I have a Sam Adams?
Sam Adams. Can I have a Sam Adams?
Jesus, you guys, come on.
Jordan's been really tame tonight. Sorry, new listeners. Usually you get more out of Jordan. Apparently he had too many high noons beforehand. Team 2, so that was Shank, Michael Kim, and Sam Burns. Team 2 is Adam Scott, S.E. Kim, Sam Ryder, 23-7. Adam Svensson, Si Woo Kim, Sam Stevens, also 23-7. Adam Long, and this is my favorite Kim, Hideki Matsuzama, because when you type in Kim in DraftKings, it shows him since it ends with KI and starts with an M, but apparently he's part Kim. And then Sam Bennett. They are 24-2. So everyone is within $500 of each other.
Wow. Kyle, that's the most racist thing you've ever said. Hideki Matsuyama is part Kim? Really? He's Japanese.
Well, because he has KI and then M.
But he's Japanese, Kyle. He's not Korean.
I'm not commenting on ethnicity here, Jordan. I'm just
You called me out for not being my normal self, so I needed to liven it up there.
Fair enough. All right, so who's first, Mike? Who's first?
Listen.
Well,
right?
that is no, George, no, by a point. Sorry, by a point, the listeners will pick first. I didn't capture all the names. I am curious, is SE Kim different or the same as SH Kim?
Well, it showed up as SE Kim when I showed, but yeah, he goes by SH. So you brought that up. We'll give the listeners Adam Scott, SH Kim, and Sam Ryder.
Okay, perfect. Next will be Jordan picking, and I know, Jordan, you remembered all the teams.
Yep. What was the third team?
Svensson, Siwoo, and Sam Stevens.
Okay, and fourth team was
Long,
Hideki Matsuyama,
Decky,
Kim, Sam Bennett, and who?
Adam Long, Decky, and Bennett.
Give me Siwoo all day. Give me the real Kim. Kyle,
Will the real Kim Shady please stand up?
I almost made that joke, and then I thought I wouldn't.
Mike,
Oh,
man. You got Long, Decky, and Bennett, or Shank, Michael Kim, and Sam Burns?
Give me Hideki, Adam Long, Sam Bennett. Sam Bennett really let me down at the 3M, blowing up on Friday and missing the cut. I'm going back to the well.
I don't love Mr. Bennett here, but I don't mind Decky, and Adam Long has some good course history.
Excuse me, Sam Bennett is a fairway finding machine.
We did see him on one. Kyle and I saw him on one hole, and he hit the fairway and the green, and then two putted for par.
Anecdotal evidence. This guy doesn't miss fairways when we watch him. So
he finished. Well, by the way, we talked about Adam Long last week being a 3M expert. He finished 37th. Would have been a great piece of a lineup.
Sure did.
So that leaves me with Shank, Michael Kim, and Sam Burns.
You get the Shank and Burns.
Which is a pretty good lead in, Mike.
Pretty good lead into what?
Well, if I happen to be a betting man, not saying I did, not saying I betted.
Yeah, you might. But would you bet the Wyndham?
If I thought about it and was in a legal betting state, maybe I would have taken Sam Burns with a boost up to 31. Hypothetically speaking, I don't know.
If a guy's not going to win a golf tournament, is it worth betting on him?
Yeah.
I mean, Sam Burns at 31.
I thought you had an illegal bookie that you used. What's this? What are you talking about?
I do not know what you're talking about, Jordan. I only
he only uses legal bookies.
I only bet when I am in the state of Iowa or other states that allow it. Otherwise, I do not bet. Sam Burns, 31. I would look at that if I could. JTP, of course, have to 35. And then we're going down the board. Mark Hubbard at 100, Justin Suh at 100, and Dylan Wu at 100. Mark Hubbard at 100, would be hypothetically very intrigued by getting that number. Not gonna lie.
I like Hubbard because he's a guy I want none of in DFS after being burned several times the last couple of months. And so why not put him on your card and say, hey, if I'm out of it, I'm a DFS, I might as well cheer for him outright.
I 100% agree with you. He's very much so a guy you would like to bet over playing your DFS lineups because, 75th, 9th, 30th, 6th, cut, 6th, 10th, cut. But that it's in there. It's just, good luck getting it at the right time from a DFS perspective. But he's spent money on approach. He's gaining strokes putting. You're just hoping for a week he doesn't suck off the tee.
Sorry, what did you say?
That he doesn't suck off the tee. George.
Oh, okay. I thought that's what I heard. Was Kyle was talking about sucking off the tee, but I wanted to make sure that Kyle was talking about what I thought he was.
And then hypothetically, as always, if you're first round leaders, in addition to making sure guys
You
don't
can't
suck
use
off the
this
tee.
hand gesture either, Kyle.
Yeah,
You cannot use this hand gesture.
Final point, Kyle. Have we convinced you? We haven't convinced you to bet on Webb Simpson this week. I can't believe that. I mean, listen to this guy's run at Sedgefield. He missed the cut in 2009. I think he's probably about 12 years old.
Well, wait, what's his daughter's name? I haven't heard that brought up yet.
Let me get to that. P8 win 22nd, 11th, 5th, 6th, 72nd, 3rd, 2nd, 2nd, 3rd, 7th. The last 5 years, 3rd, 2nd, 2nd, 3rd, 7th, and then withdrew last year.
Well,
Literally names his daughter after this golf trip. Not even the golf course. Like they might call this thing the, whatever championship 2 years from now. And he's going to name it after Wyndham, like Wyndham Hotels. Is that what we're talking about?
Well,
I remember having this conversation last year, and I feel like we took it hook, line, and sinker because we're like,
I'm not betting him at all. But like, how do you fade that? Because he sucks at golf now? That's probably the main reason.
Yeah, we fade it because last year we're like, well, he finished 13th at Travelers. Yes, he missed cut and went T69 to the Rocket Mortgage, but it's a Wyndham Classic. He's great here. And then now coming in this year, granted he was good at the Valspar, but T64 Wells Fargo cut 52nd cut. No, thank you.
No,
we're done here.
Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it, listeners. Webb Simpson is not in play this week.
Bet him.
So
bet him all day.
last point there, 2021 when he finished 7th, he was coming off 19th at the Open Championship and 15th at the FedEx St. Jude. Different golfer.
Yep. Same golfer. Bet him all week.
All right, guys. Final points. Any other comments? Enjoy the end of the PGA Tour season. I know you want to talk football. I know how I came on pre-pod. You guys are talking fantasy football. There's people out there that want to hear it. We'll get to it. But let's finish out the golf season first.
Yeah, let's go out with a bang. Let's have a good week, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's suck it off the tee, guys.
Well, with that, you can find our content podcast every Wednesday morning previewing the PGA Tour event of the week, any major podcast platform, and on YouTube on our channel, Reading the Green. Content all week long on Twitter at RTG Podcast DFS. We'll be back in a week to talk about the results of the Wyndham Championship and preview the FedEx St. Jude Classic.